Hallo liebe Freunde, schön euch hier zu haben bei Free Range Games. Es geht um Return to Moria, ein neuer Take auf den Kosmos von Herrn der Ringe, Lord of the Rings. Und wir fangen gleich an. Maybe you introduce yourself and just tell what are you doing and why we are here.
Yeah, I'm Jon-Paul Dumont. I'm the game director at Free Range Games on Return to Moria.
I'm Chris Scholz. I'm the CEO of Free Range Games.
Okay.
I'm Chuck Boyle. I'm the COO of North Beach Games publisher.
All right. Cool. I would like to come a bit closer with the camera if it's possible.
Sure.
Maybe we can put the computer a bit, so because when you are in that distance, you are too small for that big IP here, for that big game of yours.
Yes.
And I want you to have a really good vision. So let's start immediately. What was your take on that? Why did you start developing Return of Moria?
Well, North Beach approached us and said, "Hey, you guys are such big survival crafting fans. How would you like to try making one in Lord of the Rings?"
So what was the games that you worked before on?
We're just big fans of the genre, and we had been prototyping a couple of different ones. We've been wanting to make a game that way, but and Lord of the Rings was such a cool IP, and it sort of put together our passion for the IP. We say IP, but the books, the stories, the world, and put that together with the genres that we've been playing anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you try to bring in something new through, which do you mix genres in this?
Well, mostly when you take survival crafting and then you put something so iconic like Middle Earth and dwarves in it. So first we started with what would we do in Middle Earth that's survival crafting, and it just snapped that dwarves was the right thing.
All right.
Like they're just master craftsmen. Everything Professor Tolkien talks about is they know how to extract resources from a mountain and shape it into something awesome, which sounds a lot like the premise and the promise of a survival crafting game. So then we started to brainstorm, okay, dwarves, Middle Earth, survival crafting, what's a story we want to tell? Middle Earth Entertainment, who has been our partners the whole time, they're really excited to have an independent developer like us go and pick a story, a corner of Middle Earth that would be fun to tell, but something you could tell on a more intimate scale like this. And that's when we were like, well, what's the story of the dwarves that we could tell? And that's when we think about what Professor Tolkien wrote, which is at some point after the destruction of the ring, they all get together, all the different clans from across Middle Earth, and they go back into Moria and they retake it.
Okay, so it's after all the 3 books actually?
Yes.
It's like a totally new take on, you actually enlarge the whole story and bring it back to the basics, because it started all with the wolves, right?
Exactly, and so we're the first property, the first piece of entertainment in the 4th Age that's ever come out. And which is really exciting for us because so many things that we've experienced with Lord of the Rings is the retelling of Frodo's journey and Gandalf and the Ring. And this is a chance to do something in a world we know and love, but a story no one's seen before. And we've been working with Middle Earth Entertainment, we've been working with lore experts to really think about where would we go with it and how do we make it authentic.
You work also with Weta?
We haven't been working with them. That we have the book rights, and so much of what they did was fleshing out the movies. And so we wanted to have our own visual take on it that would feel familiar to fans, but would also be something a little different.
Because I'm talking about the details. You said craftsmen, all the things, props, stuff, the hammer, the whatever they're looking for, you actually start. When you do a movie, you start with all these details. How does this look? How does this look design-wise? So the design department, where did you take on the designs? Where come your designs from that you used?
Well, when we were thinking about a lot of the world building, we think about this one line in the Fellowship of the Ring in the book when they find the pages from Balin's expedition, and there's fragments, and they talk about they're doing something, and then they mention Durin's axe, and we're like, what is Durin's axe? What does it look like? What was it? Which Durin was it? Was it Durin the First? How powerful is it? And so we started there, and then we wanted to think about, we knew we had the Unreal Engine. We wanted to make something that just really used the Unreal Engine with like rock and light and realism. But then what would the dwarves look like? So our first concepts were all dwarf images. What would their faces look like? How tall would they be? How do we match them up? How colorful would they be? How does the dwarf from Erebor look different from the Blue Mountains? So that's where we went, and then we started to work our way through what would you craft, what would the armors look like. Then the next step was really fun, and we said, all right, we're starting this game in the 4th Age with dwarves from Erebor, from the Glittering Caves, but how does the technology levels advance?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to go into the future. You know, we're not starting like Bronze Age and forward.
Thank you so much.
So the way that it is that you are delving deeper and deeper into Moria, discovering layers of history. Each layer of history you discover is new things to craft that you didn't know before. So eventually you're crafting stuff from
you're becoming
the 3rd
a miner.
age, the 2nd age, the 1st age. Exactly.
You're going into the mines yourself, and and you're crafting things, and wow,
that's one of the cool things about dwarves is they don't pick something up and use it. They make everything themselves. And some games start with chopping down a tree. Like we start with pulling iron out of the mountain and forging. So we go right to metal.
Can we see something? Now I'm really very interested because it looks already like very nice environment.
So here we are, we're in a pretty dark area. So one of the things that's unique about the survival crafting in our game is managing of light. So you can see the lamps of crystal that Gimli talked about. And so I can get pretty dark, so you're going to want to have your gamma set.
I see this.
But then you can pull your torch out and suddenly you see so many more details. And you know, everything you come across is destructible in this game. Really interactive.
But it's not always worth something, right?
Exactly.
I mean, you find you have to look for it. What is this animal?
It's a little rat.
It's a rat.
Little rat.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a snack rat.
A snack rat. So you can eat it.
You can eat it. I mean, almost everything is a potential source of materials.
Awesome.
So throughout the game, you come across these collapses, and you need to tunnel your way through from part to part. So the world is procedurally generated. So the key landmarks like the West Gate, the East Gate, the tower, these are all places that are, if you're familiar with the journey of the Fellowship or the books, those are always going to be in the same place. But everything in between is different with every generation. So I can play a game myself for 8, 10, 12 hours. You can start a game and I can jump in and play and I won't know where anything is because everything is different. The orc encampments, the fortresses, the resources are all different every generation.
You know, one thing I love, it's a real differentiator for me for this one, other survival crafting games is it's not a blank canvas that you're building on. It's Moria, right? So there's this great sense of kind of rediscovery, but then also it's like this desire to like rebuild it and bring it back to its former glories.
Wow. Well, that's cool, because now it's exactly the time for that kind of things to rebuild the glory.
And then as you're digging, let me get the little chunk there. As you're digging, sometimes you'll come through and it will look kind of like the same room you were in.
Can you return? Because I saw a diamond in there. Now, I mean, when you go now to the left or the right, something will happen?
Yeah.
You can, I mean, in the dirt, when you go into the dirt that you know.
Oh, yeah. No, there's usually, sometimes there's stuff in here, sometimes there's not. This time there isn't.
What is this? This is a door?
Yeah, so one of the things you can do in this game is you can actually restore almost anything you see.
Okay.
You can clean it, you can actually pull out, so I can pull out my hammer, and I can go up to an area that's a little bit dirty, and I can hammer on it, and it will actually heal it, and make it look better. That part actually
No, I understand. If there's some cracks somewhere, you can heal them with a hammer.
So we think that people can actually kind of power wash all of Moria, which is pretty exciting.
Because they are craftsmen. I mean, they know how to do this stuff. You know?
And that's part of the long-term sort of roadmap of the game, is allowing you to not just go through our story, but to really take it from Moria all the way to Khazad-dûm. So one of the things that's fun is that breach moment. You get through to something, and it could be a camp of orcs waiting to ambush you.
Really?
It could be a big environment that you've never seen before. Or it could be something maybe you'll recognize.
Wow.
This was once the seat of Balin.
Wow.
So I'm pretty far into the game at this point. I'm probably like 30, 40 hours in. And I've finally gone back and I found Balin's tomb.
Okay.
And so I can find these key locations. I also can retrace the steps of the Fellowship. So one of the collections is finding things the Fellowship left behind. So here we have
a shield.
Yeah, we have evidence that this is where the cave troll fight happened at Ballins too.
Okay.
And so you can find lots of little things that, so once you finish the whole game and you've unlocked every area, you could actually go from the west side all the way to the east and follow the path of the Fellowship if you wanted to.
So you also will meet the dragon?
The Balrog?
Yeah.
Well, Gandalf killed the Balrog. So
Yeah, I know, but
it's a whole different
There's
story
children
now.
maybe involved also? I don't know if they have children. I mean, they lay eggs, so... What is this? Oh, it's an orc you fight with.
Yes.
Okay.
So here we are, you can see my base, and I'm in one of our mine zones, and so if I'm looking around for ore, I can look around, and it will actually show me from a distance what there is, because the doors would know. And so I can come up here and start mining this ore.
Oh.
And sometimes when you're mining, you can get inspired and start singing. Hopefully it's so loud.
Sweet. So he's getting faster, huh? With his more passionate.
Yeah, the mining songs from the players' mining ability. So.
Okay.
The cool thing about this thing too is, there's 8 different voices in the game, 10 different voices.
There's 8 English voices and then 2 that are all in the Dwarven language. We actually had an entire version of the Dwarven language constructed for us.
How many songs you have in there?
We're going to have at least 17 original
17 songs.
Yeah, when we launch.
And then each song, each voice has a different part of the song, right? So there's like call response and choruses that come in. So it's really, when you have 8 people singing, it's really magical.
Wow. No, I didn't expect that because I expected something that goes deeper than all the things I saw before, but I didn't know that it goes that deep. Because you're really into the into the substance.
Yeah.
The way it looks.
So a couple things I just want to show you here. Ooh, I'm hungry. I should get something.
I need to eat.
Yeah.
So I need to take care for him and also more people. I mean, there are more dwarves and okay, now it's fighting.
Yeah, so here's some trolls fighting, and so the trolls are not necessarily friendly to anyone, including the orcs, and they'll actually get into a fight with each other. And so I'm gonna hope he doesn't see me because I just want to show you, because I know we've only got a few minutes left. I just want to jump and show you one of our cooler environments in the game. Like I said, sometimes when you breach through these, it can be an orc camp, it can be another room, or it can be a giant vista.
What?
A giant vista.
A giant vista. Wow. Wow.
Wow. The great city of quality.
Wow.
Kazan Dustin. Time to restore it to splendor.
Nice.
Yeah, and this is actually at dusk, so I should have come in at noon when it's brighter.
You can go everywhere?
You can go everywhere you see here. Yeah. And you have to fight the orcs, and then a lot of these, it's a little dark right now, but each of these buildings is procedurally generated, so it's a different building each time, it's a ruin each time. You can restore them, you can take it and make it your base instead of building your own base.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So the game will still stay a secret, or you will find secrets after you play through it, and you play again, it will be another secrets too.
Yep.
Wow. Well, that's wonderful for the people. Wow, that's wow.
He's big.
Oh, he's big. He's very strong.
The thing with trolls is you can get them into light,
and they weaken. Okay.
Literally.
He's not so clever, but the troll.
Yeah. So what you don't want is you don't want to get caught up.
You found something.
And there's gems inside of them. You don't want to get caught fighting a troll at night. Because one of the things Tolkien talks about is in the upper halls where we are here, there are great windows that they built on the side of the mountain.
Yeah.
And so even though you would think under the mountain it would be dark all the time, there is a day-night cycle. It's a little bit brighter at night, a little bit warmer.
Understand.
It's cooler and darker, and just generally scarier. It's like the orcs know it's night and they come out in the dark.
Wow. Well, there's a lot, like you said, there's a lot of genres involved. I just sense the survival games like a zombie where there's a night shifting where the zombies get more aggressive, and here it's the trolls getting more aggressive or more harder to work with in the night. That's clever. It's really cool. Wow, so many things. How many pieces you have there?
One of the things, yeah, that's a lot of stuff. So one of the other things is that when if you make too much noise, eventually you start to hear the drums in the deep. It is super dark right now. I shouldn't fight at night. In fact, this is a really bad idea.
No, it's good because then it shows the potential that you are really in danger. You know, I mean, even as a dwarf, you have to fight for your life. You know.
Mm-hmm. So
great mix.
Yeah. Turn the torch off again. Oh yeah, I'm totally gonna. At this point, I'm just showing some fun stuff.
It's fine. It's totally fine for me. Because this is a serious problem. It's even more. They're coming from everywhere.
Yeah, and the horde keeps coming until you beat them. So if you make too much noise, you sort of kind of know how much danger you're in.
Yeah.
And at some point, yeah. Anyway.
We have cooperation and so also in this. I mean, is possible to play
co-op multiplayer. Really up to 8 players on the
8 players.
8 players on PC and 8 players on PC and 4 players on PlayStation.
Awesome.
Yeah.
When it will be released?
October 24th for PS5 and on the Epic Store.
Okay. Yeah. Wonderful.